to Hey, It's Julie, a podcast about a regular person talking to other regular people about their stories. Now, let's take a peek into the lives of other people with your host, Julie Basello.
Hey, it's Julie. Today's episode is called A Very Boring Talk, and there's a specific reason for that. We're actually talking to a guest with an interesting name. Our guest for this episode is Ryan Boring. Ryan is the marketing director for Samuel Goldwyn Films in Los Angeles. He's also a gay Christian who left his entire life in New Jersey behind and moved across the country to start a completely new life in California 5 years ago. I want you to hear his story because I think it's interesting to get a behind-the-scenes look into the experience of starting over completely. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is a very liberating experience. It's even more liberating when you haven't been able to be true to yourself and you finally arrive in a place where you can be your full, authentic self. In my humble opinion, being your authentic self is the most important thing you can be as you walk through life. Welcome to Hey, It's Julie, Ryan. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, Julie, so glad to be here.
So how did I do with your intro?
I liked it. I mean, I have to just say, like, the gay Christian thing always makes me laugh because at work, that's sometimes how, when we're talking about films and we're being introduced, it's like, oh yeah, Ryan's the gay Christian. He's the head of all of our gay and Christian content, which always makes me laugh when he says that.
You get to be the token gay Christian at your office?
I'm the token gay and the token Christian. It's always a good time.
You don't see that combo very often, huh?
No, it's very interesting. It's when you say it, people kind of look at you for a second. They're like, wait, what?
Although I think Samuel Goldwyn Films is interesting, I think the story of your entire life change might be equally interesting. I say we start with that. What do you think?
Cool. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Let's start with the big move. Well, actually, wait a minute. Let's actually start with before the move. I'm interested in the whys. So why did you make such a big move?
I mean, I've always been interested in film and entertainment. More younger, when I was younger, I was always more on the acting side. Like, oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. I want to be an actor. And then through church and things, I got really involved on the back end of like videoing and editing. And I was like, oh, I love this. This is what I want to do. So went into like film school and everything. And then I ended up coming home and fell into marketing. And it actually was a better fit for me. I actually really enjoyed the marketing concept, but taking what I learned from school to do that. So that was when I was working at Radwell, which is when we met, which was a good time, learned a lot, but it wasn't my true passion. And I started hitting that age of, okay, this is either my career, this is what I'm going to stay and do and grow here, or I need to take that leap and make that jump and change it now. Because if I'm like, literally, if I wait here another 5 years, I won't leave. I won't take that chance because I'll have too much in place here. I won't uproot everything at that point.
Right, too much invested at that point, as opposed to, when you didn't have quite as much invested, it was a little bit easier to make the change. I still think it was probably a difficult change to make, though.
Oh, it was a huge change to make. On top of that, like with family, I'm super close with my family. The original goal after school was to do New York City, so that and they're all in New Jersey. So like it was, 2 hour and a half, train ride down to see them.
Right. Your family would have loved that.
Right.
Your family would have been much happier
Or like
with that.
even like Philadelphia, they would have been so happy with something like that.
But is Philly really known for that, though? Like, I mean, I know that New York and LA kind of, New York, you have the theater scene and there's a lot of movies that get filmed in New York. LA, of course, being LA, but I don't think of Philadelphia as like a mecca for acting. I know that sounds odd.
It would have worked for like more television if I wanted to go more into like more on like a local station and marketing on that side, or work, work in local television, which is a good career.
Sure.
I was just like, and to go on the religious side of things, obviously being super involved in church, I just felt like New York wasn't the right place. I just felt like I needed to go to LA. I needed to go to Hollywood.